Good morning, sir.
Good morning. क्या हाल है? तेजिंदर
अच्छा है सर।
और शाम, कैमरा ऑन करो जरा। तेजिंदर कहाँ पे रहते हो?
सर वाराणसी।
ओके। और ये शाम किधर है? शाम
गुड मॉर्निंग सर।
गुड मॉर्निंग। कहाँ गायब हो गए थे कल?
गायब नहीं हुआ था सर, गायब कहाँ हुआ? आवाज ही नहीं है
कभी बुला
आपका
रहे
मेरा।
थे।
सर मेरा आवाज जा नहीं रहा था, पता नहीं शायद मेरे।
से चलो ठीक है। अभी हम लोग आज नया टॉपिक शुरू करने जा रहे हैं, IMDG कोड।
यस सर।
तो IMDG कोड क्या होता है? कौन से कार्गो के लिए होता है? कौन सा एनेक्स है? कौन सा चैप्टर है सोलास का जो IMDG कोड से डील करता है? मैंडेटरी है नहीं है? कुछ आइडिया है? बोलोगे? कभी देखा IMDG कोड?
गुड मॉर्निंग।
हाँ,
गुड मॉर्निंग।
समझ नहीं आ रहा है। गुड मॉर्निंग अमृत।
हाँ,
IMDG कोड देखा है? आवाज ही नहीं समझ में आ रही इसकी।
हेलो,
हाँ
आवाज आ रही है?
हाँ, थोड़ी क्लियर नहीं है।
ये
तुमने देखा है तेजिंदर?
यस सर। सर डेंजरस
तो
गुड्स के लिए होती है
हम्म
एसिड,
और
लिक्विड,
डेंजरस
गैसियस
गुड्स।
टाइप में किसी तरीके मतलब कोई भी डेंजरस गुड्स होता है तो।
तो मार्पोल के कौन से एनेक्स में इसके बारे में दिया हुआ डेंजरस गुड्स के बारे में?
सर एनेक्स 2।
एनेक्स 2 कौन सा है?
नॉक्सियस लिक्विड सब्सटेंस सर।
यस सर।
हम्म तो NH3 कौन सा है?
सीवेज।
हाँ, NH3
कम
सीवेज है। NH4 कौन सा है?
एच
हाँ,
नहीं, एच सीवेज।
आवाज ही नहीं आ रही है तुम्हारी।
अभी आ रही है?
हाँ, थोड़ी बेटर है। क्या बोल रहे हो? NX4 कौन सा है?
Seabed, yeah. Next three thing was control and prevention. Packaged form, I think packaged form के लिए dangerous कुछ packaged form. Harmful substances in the packaged form. Harmful substances.
करेक्ट.
फाइव तो सबको पता है कि गार्बेज है. 5 गार्बेज है और 6 आपका सल्फर कंटेंट.
नहीं, इतना आगे नहीं जाना है हमें. NX3 के बारे में. तो NX3 जो है हार्मफुल सब्सटेंसेस पैकेज फॉर्म, उस वो जो है वो पूरा कवर होता है हमारा इसमें IMDG में. और सोलास के कौन से चैप्टर में दिया हुआ है डेंजरस गुड्स के बारे में?
चैप्टर 7.
क्या है चैप्टर 7?
यस सर.
चैप्टर 7 का टाइटल क्या है?
ये पता है सर कि टाइटल
कैरेज ऑफ डेंजरस गुड्स.
वेरी गुड. कितने चैप्टर हैं सोलास में? क्या
यस सर.
पूरे एग्जाम दे दिए तुमने? बताओ कितने चैप्टर हैं सोलास में?
12 चैप्टर हैं सर.
कब पढ़ा था तुमने? ये कोर्स कब किया था तुमने?
17.
17 नहीं है. चेक
14 चैप्टर हैं सर सोलास में.
हाँ. कौन से हैं 2 नए चैप्टर?
2 सर है वो वेरिफिकेशन और कंप्लायंसेस करके कुछ है सर. और एक
एक तो वेरिफिकेशन है, कंप्लायंस है.
एक सेफ्टी मेजर्स फॉर सेफ ऑपरेशन रिलेटेड कुछ है. पोलर बॉर्डर से रिलेटेड है.
पोलर कोड है. हाँ ठीक है. तो हम चालू करते हैं IMDG कोड. तो तुम लोग अपने कैमरा बंद रखो और वो रिकॉर्डिंग हो रही है तो क्या बोलते हैं, थोड़े क्वेश्चंस लास्ट में हम लोग डील करेंगे. वैसे भी काफ़ी सेल्फ एक्सप्लेनेटरी है. ठीक है.
Yes.
सो 1 सेकेंड. ओके, स्लाइड दिख रही है ना?
Yes, sir.
So we are going to start with IMDG code. So IMDG stands for International Maritime Dangerous Goods Code, and the latest edition is 2018 edition, which is same. This will be the cover page you will see on the book, on the ship, and also we are provided with a CD with that at the end of the book. So there are 3 volumes of IMDG code, volume 1, volume 2, and the supplement. So this is IMDG code. So you can see all these 3 together will make one full IMDG. That's why they are like this is connected. The ship is complete. Okay, so we will see how to use the IMDG code and its supplement and describe the dangerous goods and properties from dangerous goods. Then how to use emergency schedule, medical first aid guide, and documents required as per IMDG code. So the IMDG code comprises of 7 parts, which are in 2 volumes. 7 parts are like 7 chapters, and we have 2 volumes and 1 supplement. So both volumes are required to use the information together, because volume 2 will have this all the properties, this table that we will see, and to understand that table we need to refer both the books. And instructions when dangerous goods are shipped by sea all are given here. So dangerous goods in packaged form, all details are given in IMDG code. And the supplement gives details of your emergencies like your spill and fire, and medical first aid in case of any dangerous goods, the hazards which we have done, if it is inhaled or ingested or skin contact, then how you will deal with this in medical terms. If any health problem is there, that is as per your medical first aid guide. So we will see that. So this is the supplement. You can see we have medical first aid guide. So in case of emergency, on ship we don't have any doctor, so we can refer to medical first aid guide. We have the reporting procedures as per medical first aid guide. There is a step-by-step assessment method of how to assess somebody for in case of medical emergency. Is the pulse correct? Is the breathing okay? What is the temperature? All those conditions will check, and step by step we can diagnose what is the problem and what action to take. Then also at the end of this supplement, we also have a safe use of pesticides in the ship. Sometimes because of some infestation or something, we need to do some fumigation or in pesticides, which like we are doing at shore also. And then we have a container transport units and cargo holds, all have to be fumigated or free from pests and infestation. Then also about the nuclear fuel, if we are carrying, so that is a separate code, and it's given at the end of IMDG code in the supplement. So international code for the carriage of packaged irradiated nuclear fuel, INF code, is mentioned at the end of this supplement, which includes plutonium and high reactive radioactive waste on board ships also. And an appendix of relevant IMO resolutions and circulars is also given in the supplement. So let's start with volume 2 of IMDG code, part 3. So volume 2, part 3 or chapter 3 is there mostly. And this is called dangerous cargo list. As you can see, dangerous cargo table or dangerous cargo list. So the list of all the cargoes which are dangerous and their details of class, risk, packaging, how it should be, how much we can carry, what is the IBC code. In IBC code, what are the instructions given and where is it mentioned, UN number. All those things are given in IMDG code, and that we will see now. So this is given in volume 2, part 3, and it lists out a comprehensive list of each identified dangerous cargo. So whatever dangerous cargoes are discovered and identified till now, the details of each cargo is given. So let's start. It has this has got 18 columns like this. Column 1 is UN number and 18th column is also UN number. Then column 2 is proper shipping name. Proper shipping name is the name of the material or chemical or dangerous goods which we will use in all the industry. Then we have the class. So we have 10 classes as per this classification of dangerous goods. You will see that. So the class or division, that is class 1 solids, class explosives, like that, flammable liquids, flammable solids, flammable gases, all these are classes are classified. So that class is given here. Then subsidiary hazard. So what is the hazard of that category or cargo, that is 3 or pollution or like that. Then we have 3 packaging groups, packaging group 1, 2 and 3. So that is mentioned. We will see in detail what are these 3 different packaging groups. Then any special provisions of taking precautions for that cargo. So special precautions are listed in other volumes and the number of those precautions are given, which number precautions we have to follow. Then limited quantity and accepted quantities. So limited quantity means we can carry only this much cargo, or if this much cargo is carried, so we have a special labeling, packaging and placarding requirements for all the dangerous goods. So we will have a label of the class. Then the packaging, if it is explosive, it should be very like bulletproof and explosion proof packing. So the packaging, labeling, marking and placarding, what it should be marked by the name of the cargo and all. So all these things we will see in detail, but there is a limited and accepted quantity for this. So if it is limited quantity, we can carry that cargo in that quantity only. So nitromethane we can carry in up to 1 liter bottles only. Then accepted quantities. So accepted quantities means, suppose for nitromethane accepted quantity is 500 ml. So if you are carrying any bottle which is less than 500 ml, then you no need to do any packaging, or we don't need to follow these instructions. So that is accepted quantities. So these things you might be asked in written and orals, that what is accepted quantities or limited quantities. So limited quantities you can carry up to that much quantity of bottles. Suppose 1 liter bottles we can carry in the package form. And accepted quantity is that below which quantity, if it is less than, suppose accepted quantity is 500 ml. So if it is less than 500 ml, then we don't need to put any marking, labeling, placarding, it's okay. Then packaging instructions and provisions. So packaging, there are different types of instructions that we will see, and IBC code instructions. Then the other columns are portable tank and bulk containers. So tank instructions, what type of tank or coating and all you need inside the containers. Then other provisions of tanks. Then emergency schedule. Emergency schedule is divided into 2 parts. One is fire, F stands for fire, and S stands for spill. So fire, you have divide. Fire is again different kinds of fire will have different kinds of actions. So fire actions are divided from A to Z in alphabetical order, and spill is also like that, divided in alphabetical order. So that we will see when we are seeing the supplement, how to see the actions of fire and spill. Then stowage and handling. So stowage and handling is category D. So we will see the different categories you must have done before also. Separated from, away from, longitudinally away from. It's given in your Errol Fernandez book also. So that we will see that which category of stowage is there and how dangerous it is and how far from other materials or accommodation we have to keep this cargo. Same for segregation also, storage and segregation, segregated from other cargos. Then some special properties and observation, like how it's, what is the color, what is the smell, and flammable or hazards or volatile, flash points, physical properties, chemical properties. All those things is there in your properties and observation, column number 17. So colorless and yellow, whatever this cargo is colorless or yellow, that then it is volatile and flammable liquid, flash point minus 20 degrees centigrade, oxidizes in air and explodes at temperature of 60 degrees centigrade. So all these things, physical and chemical properties, the main ones are given here. Then a last column is again UN number. So column number 1 is UN number, column number 18 is UN number, and all other columns are there. So sometimes you can be asked to list the various columns of IMDG code dangerous codes list. So sometimes you have this arrow mark in the starting of this dangerous goods list. So this arrow indicates that there has been some change to the entries as compared to the previous version of IMDG code. So we will see that every 2 years this new IMDG code amendment, new publication edition is coming. So whatever changes are done from the last edition, it's marked with this triangle. Then unique number is a number given to all dangerous goods so that there is no confusion between the name. That cargo, same cargo might called be naphtha in one country, it might be called kerosene or some other in another country. So of course, proper shipping name is also one of the ways to identify, but there are some technical names or common names in different countries. So sometimes there can be still some confusion. So that's why even the same cargo like ammonia, so you have ammonia 10% concentrated, 15% concentrated. So like that, same cargo may have a different uh, properties even if they have same name. So that's why we have a unique identification number, UN number, unique number for all the dangerous goods. Then proper shipping name, IMDG class, additional hazards. Is it additional subsidiary hazards is for pollution? What kind of pollution it is going? Then packaging group 1, 2, 3, maximum allowed quantity in the inner packages, maximum allowed quantity in overall packages. So limited quantities for inner packages, like as I told you, like a small bottle can be maximum up to 1 liter bottles we can carry, and maximum allowed quantity in out overall package. So if small bottles of 1 liter are there, that we need to mark. Then uh, types of IBC transport containers are allowed. This is not IBC of chemical, this is intermediate bulk containers. So types of bulk containers which are required. Then packaging instructions. Then the instructions for portable tanks, emergency schedule, storage and handling code, segregation code of TG, peculiar properties of TG cargo, and unique number. So what is this limited quantities? Let's see. So your dangerous goods are subject to very stringent packaging and marking because they are dangerous, and labeling. So these are the types of labels and packaging and markings and instructions we need to have on any dangerous goods box. the marking of the class and the dangers and any other instructions. So dangerous goods can be transported on road, rail, sea, uh, flights everywhere. And they may be shipped in the same shipping container provided they are in separate packages. So we have to see if they are, if we can load as per segregation table in the same compartment, then how should be the packing? It should be much, how as per the hazard, how will be the packing of, if we are putting the same different types of cargoes in same container. And these packaging instructions will be given in your dangerous goods list and IMGG code. Then with this, the distribution supply chain is becomes very easy because so many different parcels we can carry in the same container and then ship it, and then like this we have in Amazon, we are carrying so many parcels together and then distributing everywhere. So many things can be carried together. That is the advantage. And the safety rationale for allowing relaxation for the transport of dangerous goods in limited quantities based on risk assessment. So we see how much is the risk caused by what uh, amount of parcel. Suppose we are having small bottles of this chemical. So small bottles might not cause a big explosion like you have his dioxin. If we are carrying a full drum and it's leaking or exposed or there is some explosion, it might cause a big explosion. But if you are carrying like 500 ml bottles, it might not be that dangerous. So we see the risk assessment at what quantity is dangerous or not. And as per that, this limited quantity is mentioned in your dangerous goods list. So by replacing this large packaging with small ones, potential spillage scale is reduced from 200 liters to 1 liter. So if one bottle breaks, we will have only 1 liter spill, not the full 200-liter drum. So that is called your limited quantity. Then what is accepted quantity? So accepted quantity is as per your IMDG code, that some dangerous goods can be shipped in accepted quantities, and they will be exempted from the IMDG code rules of very small packages. Like examples, less than 30 grams or 30 ml per inner packaging. So if like small medicines or injection or chemicals are carried in less than 30 grams, then they don't need that much packaging. Otherwise, anyways, if we do in small bottles, we can't see it also. And it's not that much required, not that dangerous also. So above which quantity that dangerous goods is dangerous and we need packaging requirement, that will come as per your accepted quantity. So dangerous goods of medium and low hazard in packaging groups 2 and 3. So packaging group 1 is the most, packaging group 1 is for most dangerous goods, most hazardous dangerous goods. And 2 and 3 are low hazard, medium and low hazard dangerous goods packaging groups. So for dangerous goods which are less hazardous, if they are carried in small quantities, we don't need packaging or marking requirements. So they may be shipped as accepted quantities without any packaging requirements because they are not giving any big hazard to this industry or environment. So to simplify, transport of goods traditionally shipped in very small packages such as retail perfumes, like perfumes, cosmetics, personal care items, medicines, without application of many normal IMDG requirements. Without any requirements, they can be shipped if they are as per the accepted quantity which is mentioned here. So like we saw in accepted quantities in this dangerous goods list, it's given this code is given E0, E2, E3. So what is this E0, E2, E3 that we are seeing here? So E0 is not permitted as accepted quantity. So there is no accepted quantity because this cargo is dangerous. Now we saw, let's see E2 for this cargo. So E2 is 30 grams for solids and 30 ml for liquid and gases. So if you are carrying for 30 ml, that is maximum net quantity per inner packaging. Inner packaging means like you have a box and inside you have small boxes or bottles. So that is small bottles is inner packaging and this box is your outer packaging. So inner units can be maximum of 30 grams or 30 ml. So if it is 30 ml or 30 grams, we don't need packaging or labeling instructions or any other item. And outer packaging can be of maximum 500 grams for solids and 500 ml for gases. So suppose you have 30 grams boxes and or 30 ml bottles and you can carry up to 500 ml. So how many bottles we can carry? So 500 divided by 30. So that is around we can carry 16 bottles, correct?
Yes, sir. 16 bottle.
So this way, if we are carrying around 16 bottles and less than 30 grams, so it will be in accepted quantities and we don't need uh, any packaging or any instructions of IMDG, we don't need to follow. Then next is emergency schedule. So what is emergency schedule? What are the main emergencies which can take place with dangerous goods? Main is fire and spill, correct? So for fire and spill, we have different type of dangers of chemicals can cause different types of fire and spill, and we need different types of actions. So let's see how we deal with different cargos. It's only this emergency schedule are only for fire and spill, not for other emergencies. And this is keeping in mind that suppose you are not in port or there is no assistance from the shore. So what all things we can do on the ship only. And the guidance is incorporated into ship's contingency plans. So your IMDG plans are also part of your ship's emergency plans. And if you are in any port or there is any nearest coastal state, you have to contact them as early as possible to avoid the fire, of course. It is giving the instructions to solve with whatever is available on the ship, but it's not that you cannot contact. Of course, you have to contact the nearest coastal state as soon as possible. So F and S is for fire and spill, and it has to be incorporated in the ship's emergency plans. And in case of your pollution of dangerous goods, we have to consult the guidelines, obtain cargo specific details also. So we have to obtain the EMS or MSTS or cargo specific properties. So these are the schedules you can see as per UN number. If you go to the supplement, as per UN number, you will be given that emergency fire schedule FE, fire E part, or spill D part. So it's divided for each UN number, each cargo, different fire schedules and different spill schedules are given. So let's see what is the meaning. So suppose it is these fire schedules are divided from A to J and spill is divided from A to Z, I think. So let's see what is the meaning. Suppose any UN number is given FE, fire schedule E, echo. So what is the meaning? meaning is it's for non-water reactive flammable liquids. So fire type of E is for liquids, flammable liquids, which are non-water reactive. So for non-water reactive flammable liquids, what we have to do? First, we have to see the general comments that cargoes in the tanks are exposed, they can be exposed to heat. And if it is exposed to heat, again, there are chances of explosion because it's a flammable liquid. So we have to avoid exposure to heat. And after a fire situation, by a boiling liquid, expanding vapor explosion, BLEV, keep tanks cool with copious quantities of water. So because it's not reacting with water, so we can put water with for these types of fire or explosion or something. And fight fire from protected position as far away as possible. So we can fight the fires from any protected positions because they are not very toxic or something. And try to avoid the leakage, close the leakage from wherever it is operating. And then cargo, if you have a cargo fire on deck, so general instructions are for both on deck and under deck cargo or containers. If it is only on deck in packages like boxes and all, not in containers, then you can create a water spray with from as many hoses as possible. If it is a container or cargo transport unit, then you can do boundary cooling or cool burning transport units, and nearby cargo exposed to fire with copious quantities of water. So you can again put as much water from outside as possible. Then if it is under deck inside the hold, then first is you have to stop ventilation because it's a flammable cargo. It will be get flammable with presence of more oxygen. So you have to stop on ventilation, close the hatches, and then you have to use the fixed fire extinguishing system which is given for the hold space. If it is not available, then you have to put water spray or somehow some water or fixed connection will be there. Then cargo exposed to fire. So if there is fire because of some other reason, but that cargo is coming in contact with fire or something, then try to remove this cargo because this is very flammable cargo. It's better to put this cargo in water rather than keeping it on board and causing more explosion. Or keep it in a isolate it or keep it in a place where it can be kept cool for many long time, maybe using water or anything. So what are the UN numbers for this type of cargo? What are the flammable non-water reactive cargos? 1162, 1250, 1298, 11717 and 2985. This cargo will create hydrochloric acid in contact with water and stay away from the air. So out of this cargo, there are some special UN numbers for the flammable cargo, but they are also water reactive. So some cargoes will be given this FE code, but out of that also there can be uh, that if they react with water, they can create hydrochloric acid. So we have to stay away from such cargoes. So this was the emergency schedule regarding fire. Now let's see about the spill. So your spill is divided from A to Z, different categories. So let's see one example like ST, spill case delta. So it is for flammable liquid. So if a flammable liquid is spilled on deck somewhere under deck, then what we will do? So first, of course, we have to wear all the PP, SCBA, and we have to put all the soap equipment in use, all the scuppers in place, and start collecting. Why we have to wear SCBA? Because there can be gas and all. Then avoid all sources of ignition, naked lights, unprotected light bulbs, electric hand tools, etc. Then stop the leak if practicable, of course. First, like all bunker spill also, any oil spill, first we'd have to try to stop the leak. So if it is practicable from a container or something, you can, if it is small leak, you can put some wooden something plug or something, or anyhow try to avoid the leak as case by case. Then avoid any contact even when wearing protective clothing. So even if you are wearing PPE or chemical suit or anything, but try to avoid the contact with the spill, and spill may evolve flammable vapors. So environment can be flammable. So you have to take all the precautions, no naked lights and ignition. And contaminated clothing must be washed off with water and then removed. So if you have any contact with the chemical or is splashed on your skin or clothing, immediately after that go for fresh water wash, remove the clothing and take a shower with fresh water for at least 15 minutes. Now different cases, if the spill is on deck, if it is with the small packages, then you put lot of water, not the direct jet, but from the side you can put, and keep the area clean thoroughly. So with that we can clean the small spillage. Now if it is a big spillage in a container or something, so we have to change the direction so that the flammable vapors are not going towards the bridge or accommodation, and then we can again use a lot of water for cleaning that container or something. And again, don't put the water directly onto the spill. Try to like take water in other direction so that the water takes the spill away and it's get collected in one place. And then we can contain in all the drums and clean the area thoroughly. Now, if it is under deck, same, there may be different cases. If it is small packages, again, we have to shut all the ventilation and any sources of ignition, like maybe some lights or something, if it is there. Don't carry any, all equipment should be intrinsically safe. Avoid carrying any non-intrinsically safe, like flashlight or something. Then adequate ventilation. Do not enter the space without SCBA. Check atmosphere before entering. Toxicity and explosion hazard. If the atmosphere cannot be checked, do not enter. Let vapors evaporate and keep clear. Provide good ventilation of the space. Use water spray on effluent in hold to avoid ignition of flammable vapors. So you have to provide a good ventilation after clearing everything, and you can use water or something again to clear the vapors and the liquids, and wash down the bottom of the hold and pump it overboard, like you have the bilge pump and all. Then next is medical first aid guide. So in the medical first aid guide, it's also is part of supplement. So the main two things you have in supplement is, one is EMS, emergency schedule, and the medical first aid guide, MFAG.
Take,
So
sir.
medical, yeah. Okay, let's finish this medical first aid guide and then we'll go for. So medical first aid guide, uh, it can be used in case of any accidents or incidents involving dangerous goods. So in case of any exposure, first we have to start with actions. So we have to see the tables. We have to start here and then go to the tables and whatever the instructions, and then the appendices. So this is given in your IMDG guide. So these are the different tables. You have 20 tables, and then after the conclusion that what do we have to do as per the table, we have the appendix for the detailed instruction and also the CPR and all. that is you have done in this. So these are the type of tables. So we start here. We see that the casualty needs to be rescued from a polluted atmosphere. If it has to be rescued, we have to go to table 1. If it is not in any enclosed space, then the breathing is okay or not. If breathing is stopped, then we have to go to table 2 and 3. If breathing is on, then if casualty is conscious or unconscious. If it is unconscious, go to table 4. If it is conscious, then you have to see that any fitting or vomiting or something is coming out from the mouth. If it is not coming out, then we go ahead, otherwise we go to table 6. So like that we will see all the conditions as per this. And is the chemical known? So we have to see because of which chemical it is, and as per that we will keep doing the only a few substances need specific treatment. So what is the casualties present state? We have to put all those things. This is given in brief also. If it is breathing is rapid, go to table 3. If coughing, wheezing, go to table 9. All those, as per the symptoms, you can immediately go to table if you don't have time for reading all this. Then the last part is the documentation required for as per IMDG code. So we know there is first is document of compliance, which is given in as per SOLAS chapter 7. This IMDG code is mandatory, and the ship requires a document of compliance, so that saying that the ship is constructed and approved to carry dangerous goods, and it should be given in your document of compliance, and it is valid for 5 years, and approval of construction and equipment and suitable for the carriage of dangerous goods. Then there are different schedules for storage and segregation that we will see again also, but it is also mentioned in your document of compliance that the storage space and what are the hold space and on deck wherever we can show carry which classes of cargo, which will be given in your document of compliance as schedule 1. And there is a schedule 2 which lists this any special requirement for fire protection or when the certificate of issued for the ship. So where which fire equipment and emergency we have, it will be given in schedule 2. Then there is a dangerous goods declaration. This is called the shipper's declaration. Every shipper before loading a dangerous goods on the ship is required as per IMDG also and IMDC also to give the ship people one shipper's declaration, which will give all the dangers and physical chemical properties of the cargo and dangers, and in emergency what we have to do as per shipper. He has to get all the tests done in the lab, and he has to give all the information. And if there is any improper declaration by the shipper, then there have been many incidents, but as per the new amendment, shipper can go to jail also, because he is responsible to give all the correct information. If he has not given any correct information and anything happens, then he can go to jail, because the ship people don't know what they are carrying. So if it is misdeclared or not declared at all any property, then shipper can be put in the court. So there are some examples of incidents: Tianjin, China, MSC Flamina, Maersk, Konam, KMTC, Hong Kong, and Yantian Express. These all incidents happened because of misdeclaration of your shipper's declaration properties of dangerous goods. So any questions we will see. Thank you.
No, sir.
Okay, then you can take a break. I will end the meeting and you can join again. Okay.
Join at 10 o'clock, right, sir?
Yeah, around 10:03 like that.
Okay.